welcome to the very first episode of A Funny Taste. My guest comedian and co-chef today is a stand-up comic. He is the co-founder of Liar Comedy, and he is also the person who taught me my very first word. Please welcome Mr. Ed Roesgen.
Hey, Kate, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
This is such an odd thing, us making pizza over Zoom. I mean,
yeah, I know. We've only been doing it every Friday for the last, how many Fridays now?
Who knows? Today we will each be making a different variant of pizza. I will be making a more traditional kind of Italian style pizza. Ed will be making a cauliflower crust pizza. So Ed, please tell us about your cauliflower crust. Why are you doing that?
Well, the cauliflower crust is nice because it doesn't have carbohydrates like it would just a regular pizza crust. Yeah, are we gonna do the bit now that like the thing that I sent you? Didn't you get my email?
What? No?
No, the one where I was gonna say it's got tons of flour, and then you say, really, flour? And then I say, yeah, cauliflower. I must have forgot to send it to you. But yeah, first things you're gonna need, cauliflower for this, obviously.
I never would have guessed.
You want to have cauliflower florets about this size. You're also gonna need some Asiago cheese. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to grate the cauliflower here, and you just take it like this. You just want the little tops of the florets. You don't want to get too much of the stem there. Now you could try to use a food processor, but this is just so simple and it avoids so much of the stems. Like you can actually see once you get down in there, when you start like hitting stems as opposed to the nice little top parts. That's what you want.
So you're just getting like the leaves off the trees. If
Basically,
I was a child trying to eat my broccoli.
You're a child trying to eat your broccoli. It's just the little bits off the top. So once you get it down there, the rest of this you can definitely use. You cut it up, save it, throw it in soups, whatever. But the part that we're interested in should look something like this. So it's just very little bits like that. And you're going to want to grate that up till you get about 2 cups of that.
2 cups. Okay. So yeah, that's going to take a while.
It takes a while. Luckily, through the magic of television, as they used to say,
YouTube,
I have 2 cups of that ready. Right there. So there's my 2 cups of the cauliflower tops there. And you see sometimes you get little pieces in there, but it's no big deal. You just want mostly like that. Once you have that ready, you're going to want to set it aside. And then you're going to want to grate the cheese. I know nothing is greater than cheese, but I use the fine end here. You don't have to. I just knew this was going to be on TV. And you're going to do about 1 cup of the cheese grated as well. And I'll show you how to do that. But once you get that done, you're going to want to set the cheese aside. And then the very important part to this is that once the cauliflower is done, it's going to have a little bit of water in it that you don't want there. So at that point, what you're going to want to do is just grab a pan. You're going to want to throw it right in there. And on a low to medium heat on your stovetop, you're going to want to cook that and keep stirring it and keeping it moving so that it doesn't start to brown. What you're basically doing is you're cooking the water out of it. Always add a little bit of a pinch of salt there to kind of like draw some of the water out as it's cooking down.
Nice.
Yep.
To keep from having a soggy, gross pizza crust.
That's the one thing that'll happen to this is if you don't cook the water out, which if you remember a couple weeks ago when I first made this again, because it had been so long since I made pizza, I failed to do. It will come out a soggy mess. What you're basically going to use is the cauliflower the cheese, and then you toss an egg in there to bind it all together. Sorry, vegans, this is not for you. Gluten-free people, though, definitely this is for you. And anybody that's watching your carbs, this is for you too.
There you go.
And it comes out really simple. If you do the prep ahead of time, it's a lot quicker, which I learned today as I
If you have
did the prep ahead
YouTube
of time.
TV magic on your side, it's a lot easier.
Well, I now realize that when they used to say by the magic of television, the magical part was just an intern did it. They just had an
PAs.
intern cut
A
the
PA
stuff.
is the magic of television.
Yeah, no. We're doing this on our own. But yeah.
The thing about pizza, one of the main reasons I wanted to start with pizza is it's a thing that I don't think a lot of people make from scratch on their own. But I get that it's intimidating. Bad pizza is still fucking great.
No, it's hard to screw up pizza real bad. Like you would, even if you had to eat the pizza through a straw, I would still be okay with however it came out.
I need to talk about my pizza stone. I got it in this little kit that comes with a little pizza board thing, so you take the pizza in and out. But the pizza stone is an important part. It is something, it's already in the oven because you need to put it in there to heat up with the oven. But it looks like that because it's all messy. It's just a big stone.
Mm-hmm. This is for the benefit of you, the viewer. I, of course, know about the pizza stone because we had one in our house growing up. Hence the Friday pizzas every Friday.
Every Friday forever.
Yeah. This is my cauliflower. This is my grated cheese here. So that's 2 cups cauliflower to 1 cup of cheese. I'll kind of mix that up just a little bit.
It's a great time to remind everybody to wash your hands. Wash your hands before you cook. Wash your hands constantly.
I know. I pre-washed mine in the shower this morning.
30 times a day.
Can I tell you, I saw the old Justin Wilson show on YouTube recently, not to mention your competition, but there is a 30-year-old Cajun cooking show from PBS.
Oh, nice.
That I rediscovered, and he was never one for the cleanliness. A little oregano to go.
Very carefully measuring the oregano into there.
You want to put oregano in at every step of every process. You want to kind of beat up the egg with your fingers and then just mix it in as best you can.
Nice.
Make sure you get all that egg incorporated in there.
Do you have any, what are your pizza toppings you're planning?
Well, normally I just go through the fridge and see what we got. But today's a special day, so I'm going to go through the fridge and see what I got. All right.
Always prepared. Just always.
I think I got some pepperoni in there. I think I got some roasted red peppers in there, possibly.
Like a fruitcake of pizza toppings.
Yeah.
Whatever's in there. Are there any you don't do? Like, what are pizza toppings that are just?
Oh, God. I worked in a pizza shop in college, and they had everything you could ever want to put on your pizzas. The sardines, I could not get down with. Anything else was fair game.
Really?
But when they would make those sardine pies, no thanks.
Ugh.
That was too much for me. So here's a ball of goop. You're gonna want to press it out flat. Try to keep it consistent. The trick is to keep the edges nice. You want to keep like something on the edges so that they don't get too thin. If they get too thin,
burn.
Yeah, it burns out. And this recipe doesn't make something too big. You're looking at this is like a personal size pizza per person. And I can get one of these out of half of a good size head of cauliflower and a half a brick of that cheese. So, but it'll get a nice golden brown color to it. And then you pull it out and top it. So the only other part I have to do is make my pizza sauce.
Well, before you do that, I'm going to make my dough.
Go for it.
For all of the gluten-full people out there that are not watching their carbs.
The glutenful.
I'm watching my carbs go in my face.
Gluten tog. That's those gluten-free people. Some of them have celiacs, but some of them just love going against the grain. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow. Okay. So I'm starting with 3 cups of flour. There's this whole thing about like bread flour or high gluten. All-purpose flour is fine. You don't need to make a special trip to the grocery store for special flour of some kind. First thing you got to do when you're making real pizza dough is you need to activate your yeast. You need to make sure that your yeast is still alive and not dead. So what we're going to do for that is you start with 1 cup of warm water, so not room temperature. Filtered is best. So I'm doing a little bit of room temperature water, but I'm going to put some of this kettle water in here too once I heat it up. I've heard like bath water is what you're supposed to use, like that kind of temperature. I do a little bit, I mean, I take really hot baths. I do a little bit cooler than bath water temperature. You just want it to be noticeably warmer than room temperature. But if it's too hot, it'll kill your yeast. And that
I thought that was a recycling thing. I thought you were saying use your bath water to.
No. Bath water temperature. I'm not using a thermometer. Just stick your finger in there. I'm going to take the water, put it in there. You're going to want to add a little bit of sugar, because why not? And then you're going to take your packet of yeast and just sprinkle it.
Now, I find it funny, Kate, for the sake of transparency, that when I mentioned cooking the water out of the cauliflower, I told the viewers that I failed to do that a couple weeks ago, and my pizza dough suffered as a result. However, when you said make sure your yeast isn't like from 1993 and is dead as a, like you didn't mention that you had made that mistake recently.
Well, the first time I made pizza dough, I thought that I had active yeast. I thought that it was alive. It wasn't. Check your yeast. Make sure that it's alive. So basically, you mix it up to kind of distill it in here. And then we're going to wait for like 5 minutes. And things should start happening.
Check in on your yeast friends, people. Make sure they're okay.
You know, make sure that it's doing okay. So we're both making pizza sauce. I assume it's about the same recipe.
Well, mine is a quite simple one that I stole from the pizza shop I used to work at when I was in school. And I mean, it's tomato sauce and 4 spices that you can find around any home. So yeah, I don't know. You want me to let her rip with my super awesome measurements? And so it's an 8-ounce can of tomato sauce.
Nice.
You can just get whatever your local grocer provides.
That old guy, our local grocer.
Speaking of grocer, when we made this at the pizza shop, we used to use like a 3-gallon bucket. And you would put the spice in with the tomato sauce, and you would stir it with the majority of your forearm and a little bit of your upper arm as well. So, yeah.
That's secret ingredient.
Mm-hmm. So once we just got some tomato sauce, first thing I add is the sugar.
Yes.
Have to put sugar in there. I don't know. I would say that's a little about tablespoon and a half.
Sure.
This is all conjecture at this point. A little garlic powder. Half a teaspoon of that. Same thing with the black pepper. Half a teaspoon of that.
Garlic powder. There it is.
Of course, oregano at every step. Load it up. Never use too much oregano in your pizza. I've learned that. The garlic will get me, but the oregano, I can go for days. Then just mix it in until it's really well mixed. Hey, science guys, the acidic nature of the tomato sauce will help to dissolve the sugar and other components very quickly. You can look that up. That's called science. And then that's ready to go.
Nice. I will be
How's your
using
pizza sauce?
crushed tomatoes
Ooh,
and tomato paste.
somebody's fancy.
Oh. And then, yeah, spices for sure. I don't ever really time pizzas when they're in the oven. I don't know if that's a bad thing. I just feel like it's one of those things you got to just look.
I mean, I want to make sure. I mean, I know if it's daytime, I should check on it before nighttime. But no, I don't.
It's not the type of thing you forget is in the oven. Like when there's a pizza in the oven, the entire household is aware.
Well, now you say that, but 3 a.m. Ed Roesgen would disagree. That.
Are you making pizza from scratch at 3 a.m.?
Oh God, no.
Oh, okay.
I'm making it into scratch at 3 a.m. sometimes.
I was gonna say I'm not even that hardcore. I mean, I'll make a full pizza and then save some for those 3 a.m. days, but okay. Ooh, look at the yeast. Hey, hey.
Hey, it's
Something's
doing stuff.
happening. It's alive. Got to do the whole Frankenstein rip off and then pay royalties.
Well, at least it's not a forearm you're using. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
you
know.
Like up to here, you were. And
No,
they didn't save that job for the ladies. Like they let the hairy guys.
Right. I was going to say no arm hair in this sauce. I'm pretty certain of that. So the yeast is still doing its thing, but it's definitely active. So I think I'm going to start adding my flour now. So I have 3 cups of all-purpose flour. Probably not going to use 3 cups in here. But you kind of don't know until you start adding. I'm going to throw a good amount, maybe like 1.5 cups in there. And just with a fork, start mixing it together. All right. You're also going to add some salt. Throw a little in there too. A little bit of sugar in here as well. You just need to get it all mixed in. You can see it's already starting to like ball up like that. Oh yeah. Super gooey though. So, as you can see, I did not use 3 cups yet, but now's the fun part.
You didn't tell me there'd be a fun part.
There is a fun part.
Oh man, I didn't sign up for that.
When you dump flour all over your kitchen counter.
Oh.
Okay. I'm going to actually flour my hands a little bit because I've done this too many times. I've gotten flour stuck on my hands.
That's an important tip for our viewers.
Yeah. So, just going to dump it out. I'm going to try to get as much of this stuff that's stuck to the bottom of the bowl. Okay. Well, that's it. That's your pizza dough. I think we're done. So.
I gotta say, it looks delicious.
This is what real pizza dough looks like, man. None of that cauliflower. Look at this. This is great. Okay. So basically, just gonna. I think that this is why we give children Play-Doh when they're kids, is so that they are prepared. So all of this flour will eventually be a part of this. I know it doesn't seem like it, but the more you just knead it, the more it just kind of absorbs it. Because there's all these, it looks like there's a lot of flour on the outside, but there's all these like sticky parts that you find when you knead it. And if you have a standing mixer, you don't get this awesome wrist workout. Okay. So you want to work the dough for like, I don't know. They say 3 to 4 minutes. I probably go closer to 5 because it's fun, you know? And as you work it, you can really start to feel it like get gummy. And see, this is looking better. This is not the mess it was before. Now I have my happy little ball of dough. It's so cute and perfect. So I have about half a cup of flour left, but it's always better to have more out. You'll save this for when you have to get it back out after you let it rise. You're going to take a clean bowl, pour about a tablespoon of olive oil in there. And you're just going to use the olive oil to coat the bowl. I have this handy little brush here. And we'll just brush the olive oil. You want it to go about halfway up the bowl because hopefully your pizza dough will rise that much and you don't want it to get stuck to the sides. Hi, kitty.
Good Lord, you need painter supplies just to make, mine's way easier.
Oh, see, you could also just use your finger, but you know, we're on YouTube.
Yeah. Or you could just run to Home Depot or wherever the heck you want.
This is a kitchen thing. It's a little brush. I don't know. You're supposed to use it to like brush butter on things. Keith would know if he was here. Okay. So now we're gonna take our perfect, beautiful little ball of dough. So cute. And we're gonna lay him down here. You want to kind of like press him down so it goes all over the sides and is kind of flat on the bottom. I'm gonna take your saran wrap and just wrap him up. His happy little home. I also like to give him a little privacy. Just, you know, put a little towel over him. So here, through YouTube television cooking show magic, ta-da! Look how big he got. Okay, I'm gonna take the saran wrap off of this guy that I made this morning. First thing, this is okay. This is the fun step. I mean, there's a lot of fun steps, but this is really the fun step. So this is the same as the little bread bowl thing or little dough ball that I just put in there, but it's all nice and huge. And now you get to take out your aggressions on it. That was very satisfying. So you got to punch the dough to have it kind of deflate. And then it's covered in all of your olive oil that was all over that.
So you only punch it once?
Yeah.
That's not all of my aggressions.
I mean, you can punch it more. We're going to need it.
Who wants to order 50 pizzas? Somebody cut me off in traffic. Make it 60 pizzas.
You're making pizza. You shouldn't be that aggressive. Okay. So now it's got all this oil all over it. So it's naturally going to need a lot more flour again. And we'll repeat the step of just kneading it out and incorporating this flour back into it.
If I could drop another pun, it's a very needy recipe.
Worth it. Okay. So, doesn't look that huge, but this is actually enough dough for 3 pizzas.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, going to not make 3 pizzas right now. going to make one pizza. So take your handy kitchen scissors and try and do equal. If I was a professional, I would have a scale and be able to weigh these out to be perfectly even. But this is YouTube. So. Just doing it by feel. Okay, this guy's a little bigger than you.
How did you determine that? Just a feeling?
Yeah. This is how when I used to have my bakery truck, sometimes separating cookies. So like we would have cookie scoops for our cookies, but then people would order minis. And so the way I would make a mini is basically what you just saw, where I would like break it apart and then just like feel them in each hand. And like, usually it's kind of graphic for YouTube, but usually trying to feel it in each hand and then you kind of swap just because you know your one hand is going to be more sensitive than the other, I guess. But these look pretty even to me.
Yeah, like nice socialist distribution of dough. Good job.
Perfect. All right, and I'm taking these two, setting them back over here for another day tomorrow. I mean, let's be honest. I really like hitting that thing, don't I? So here's my pizza dough. It's slightly less done than your pizza dough currently.
Yeah, mine's actually ready to pop out of the oven and get
Oh,
some.
nice.
Oh yeah, so there you go.
Nice.
If you notice, it's not stiff, like it'll actually bend. Got some bend to it, so much superior to the ones that you get from your
grosser
freezer.
curries.
Grosser than gross. Here. A little pizza sauce.
The spoon technique.
I'll use the spoon.
It's the only way to do it.
Try to get it. I leave some edge on this because I always like my cheese to go over the edge of the sauce, of course. You get into the crust, and you want to keep it thin. That's why you can put so much sugar in that pizza sauce, because you barely use any.
Nice.
Nice little lunch-size pie for someone.
I'm grabbing a rolling pin. I know some people don't like the rolling pin with the pizza dough. Don't know why. It's how I was raised. So we had pizza night growing up every single Friday night. Homemade pizza from our non-Italian roots. I don't know how that started.
It was because someone bought Dad a bread maker for Christmas, and I think he made one loaf of bread. And then once he found out he could use it to make pizza dough, he made 5 million pizzas after that.
Not a big bread man, apparently.
Well, in his defense, I mean, how much homemade bread are you going through with a family of 3 kids? And
That's true.
There's a reason they compare great inventions to sliced bread. It's pretty solid. It hasn't been overtaken.
Kind of a time saver. Whereas this was more like an excuse, something to do, an event every Friday night. I was going through our old family photos, found some great ones of you. Can't wait.
Wonderful.
But I was looking for like any photographic evidence of pizza night. There's absolutely none.
Nobody had time for a camera then.
There are like 3 photos of John sitting on the couch, but for some reason we couldn't get any photo of pizza night. And I think that says more about like, I mean, people took photos at different times back then. Obviously, there are tons of photos of us on family vacations and stuff like that. But, you know, not everybody had a camera out at every waking moment of the day like they do now. But also, people didn't photograph their food back then.
This is true.
Because how dumb would it be?
We're not even sure that they ate.
How dumb would you feel walking into Rite Aid and going up to the 1 hour photo and asking the lady, could you please develop my photos of toast? Because I need them in an hour. Okay. So it keeps, you kind of got to stretch it out because that snap back like that right there, how it keeps, try to move it and it just comes right back. That's the gluten.
I decided to quarter these pepperonis.
So what do you got? You got roasted red peppers.
And some pepperoni.
And pepperoni.
That's
simple.
It? Yeah.
Nice. Peppers and pepperoni.
Not a whole lot of space on this guy anyway.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when it's all done, more oregano. Always more.
Oh, you do the oregano pre-cook? I do it post-cook.
Oh,
Should
both.
I do it pre-cook?
Both? Yes.
Both?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course.
Pre-cook and post-cook.
Mm-hmm. And then, yeah. And then put it on the table so that if they want to add some as they eat it. All right. So now that this guy's topped, back into that same oven that I left on for another 10 minutes.
Nice.
Or so.
Oh, whereas my guy, I think, is ready to start. It's about the size I want. Right? Yeah. So now I'm going to put it on the little slidey wooden. I should learn terms before I do a show. Before I put it on here, I need to put cornmeal down so that it will slide off, because that is a mistake definitely don't want to make. Prepping an entire pizza. Only to not be able to get it in the oven. So cornmeal, very cheap, very easy to find. This is America. I'm going to do this over the sink because, again, I'm smart. But you kind of just want to spread the cornmeal all over this little slidey tray thing. Industry term. And okay. So it looks like that. So it's got a nice coating of cornmeal. You kind of can't overdo the cornmeal. You can definitely underdo the cornmeal. And that's a sad time for everybody. So take your pizza, potential pizza, and you put it on there.
That's like the sand you would put down on like the shuffleboard at the bar.
Yeah, the little silica or whatever. Yeah. It just makes it so that it can get off of here easily and into the oven, and vice versa. So I'm going to take a little bit of olive oil, throw it in there. If you still have your handy brush, you can just use that to brush it all over. I don't even have that many kitchen gadgets, but I guess one is too many when you're on with Ed Roesgen.
No, that's okay. You Bob Ross that thing up. That's fine. Happy little pizza crust. Maybe he's got a little friend who lives right over here.
Well, if I'm putting this on YouTube, I should really make it more like a makeup tutorial. So you're going to want to contour up here and on the side here. You really want to highlight in the middle. And just make sure, oops, trying to make it so that it gets all the way to the edges here. Pizza dough can actually get very, very dry if you skip this step, which I have accidentally done before. All right, so now we're going to take a spoon and do the same spoon technique. Grabbing some pizza sauce, throwing it on there. So mine's a little chunkier.
Yeah.
This is kind of a thinner crust though, so I don't want to do, whoops. Don't want to do it too thick on there. And same
Mine's
thing,
almost
just
ready.
nice. Just leave a little border.
I don't think I could get any border.
This is why you're here. That, and if you weren't my first guest, I'm sure I'd never hear the fucking end of it.
Oh, yeah. That's true, too.
Okay, now for my vegan friends. We'll be doing plant-based mozzarella. This is the 365 brand, which is pretty decent. Simple Truth Organic by Ralph's does a really good plant-based mozzarella shreds. Daya also has some. Follow Your Heart is probably the best. You can find that. If you have any vegan cheese questions, please ask below in the comments, because I'm a connoisseur of sorts in that I have tried them all. You just always want to, if you're doing something like this, you always want to make sure that it says on it that it melts and stretches. Sometimes that's a lie, but at least try to get something that'll melt. That is the constant struggle with vegan cheese, is it takes a very long time to melt. Ed, would you like to make fun of my vegan cheese or anything?
No, I'm not going to take shots at what you choose to eat like you did with my real pizza crust. That's fine. I'll take the high road on that one. In fact, my real pizza's about ready to come out of this real hot oven.
Taking the high road through life.
Oh.
Ed Roesgen. By which I mean he's high, but you know.
True.
It sounds good, at least. So I'm doing peppers and onions. I have all of my toppings here. I've got raw green bell peppers and raw onion that I probably won't use as much as what I cut up.
Nice.
I have a rule with toppings. I don't know if this is just me. If it's like a stronger flavor, I cut it smaller. Is that just a me thing? Like,
Yeah, I think
I have
so.
banana peppers, which are really strong flavor, so I make like tiny little banana pepper. I don't want like a big thing of it. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Now, of course, it just came out of the oven. What's the next step? It's always the next step
Oregano.
with pizza. More oregano, that's right. Now, with a normal pizza,
Nice.
I would let it cool before cutting it. But these you really don't have to. It is nice to give it a little time to cool before you eat it. So I'll just let it chill here for a second.
All right. I've got green bell peppers, onions, roasted red peppers, banana peppers, mozzarella cheese, and then I have some, this is just plant-based smoked Gouda from Follow Your Heart, I believe. Just to switch it up. Okay. So that is my pizza. I always like to test it before I try to put it in the oven. There we go. You want it to be able to move like that, like a little shuffleboard.
Otherwise, it's going to stick.
Which is a horrible thing to find out when your arm is in the oven. Whoop. Okay.
I'm trying. Is that all right with you? I'm going to
go for it.
This cauliflower pizza, right? Take a look at that.
Nice.
Little crust on the bottom, folds up. It bends like pizza's supposed to. Doesn't sit there flat like you're eating mozzarella on matzah.
If it was big enough, you could fold it like the New York style.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's a really good approximation of pizza crust.
Nice. Okay, Ed. So I like comparing, I think there are a lot of comparisons between comedy and cooking. And not just because I have like no training in either and still do both, but I think there's a lot of it that pertains to like confidence and like, oh, I can make this. Oh, I can do this. Trying things for the first time. I mean, you don't really know if you can make something until you try it. You don't really know if a joke is going to work until you try it. So I would like you to explain to me your comedy pizza. So the toppings of this pizza are other comics that you have been influenced by, that you think that your comedy styling is a representation of all these other toppings, which are other comics. It's a little Army Hammer, I know, but like, you're not eating the comics. I'm just trying to get a feel for like who all makes up your influence pie.
I don't know. As far as like, it's a strange thing because there's always like, when you're just a regular citizen person, not an insane person, which is what you need to do to go into either cooking or comedy. You have to be a little crazy. You can just have the people you enjoy and the people that you like, and you can have your favorite comedian because they're so funny, and you know that person might inspire you. But it's different when you look at the people once you're actually doing it, that you find that influence you versus just people that you like. There's a lot of comedians that I just love that don't influence my style as much. And then there's a lot of comedians that's like, I, of course, like them if they're influential to me, but not as, you know, I don't know. If I had the chance to go see Dave Chappelle or go see someone like Jonathan Katz, I would probably take the Chappelle ticket. But when it comes to finding someone who inspires me when I write or perform, it would be somebody like, you know, a Jonathan Katz, Doug Stanhope's another one. Oh my gosh, I referenced Stephen Wright the other day, and my girlfriend Christina had no idea who it was. So we had to sit down and watch Stephen Wright. And what was funny was half the videos on YouTube are Stephen Wright, Mitch Hedberg. Stephen Wright, Mitch Hedberg. Stephen Wright versus Mitch Hedberg. Stephen Wright talks about one-liners. Mitch Hedberg does one-liners. And it's just like a side-by-side comparison of the two guys. But I just remembered like he had such a grace with that low energy delivery that, yeah, it's funny. Like I go back and I look at people that I remember from, you know, before, when I was just, whoever was on HBO was the funniest guy in the world. But there were all these other people doing it that, you know, I go back now and I see people like that. Jimmy Carr is obviously a huge one for me. A lot of people don't like his material. A lot of people try to discount what he does. Not because of anything offensive that he says, but just because they're offended by his style of comedy.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the people that you're naming are people that you either love them or you hate them.
Mm-hmm. I aspire to be either loved or hated, I guess.
No middle ground for Ed Roesgen.
Is that a good enough answer to take another bite of my delicious
I like it.
cauliflower
I like
pizza?
that. Yeah. Okay, so we got to come up with a title for the episode. I feel like that could pertain to it somehow. Nobody just likes Ed Roesgen. Or should I drop the just?
Yeah, that's either or. Put it in parentheses.
Nobody likes Ed Roesgen, everybody likes pizza. There you go. I think we have an episode title. That wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. Just waiting now. Oh, actually.
Uh-oh. Is this more YouTube TV magic?
Hey. done. All right.
That's how entertaining it is talking to me. It's just time flies.
I'm here. Okay. All right. So the cheese doesn't look as melty and transformed as yours, but I promise this is a done pizza. Bam.
Well, would you look at that?
It's very colorful, at least. And then got my finishers, which are, of course, oregano.
Yes. If you take nothing away from this, take away that oregano.
But you need to buy a new container of oregano just for this night.
Mm-hmm.
This, and I even have, because it's a pepper and onion pizza, I only have one type of onion on there, so I have green onions that I'm going to throw on after the fact. So it's 3 different types of pepper, 2 different types of onion, 2 types of cheese, and all vegan. Bam! We did it.
I think we did pretty good.
Thank you so much for all of your patience and for being my first guest and for making what apparently is a delicious pizza.
And congratulations on this brand new endeavor here. You've
Thank
inspired me to do my own YouTube show because of this, and it's going to be super easy to book. I'm going to get all of your guests, and we just do a YouTube show where we bitch about having to clean our kitchens because Kate just booked you on her show. And we just scrub and complain. There's a lot of cursing. It's going to be age restricted.
Well, thank you so much, Ed Roesgen, Fast Eddie
Anytime.
Rowe,
Especially
the firstborn of our
Fridays.
family, our master pizza chef for the day.
Thanks, it was fun.
Anything you'd like to promote or say?
Yeah, go to your phone. It's probably either in your pocket or in your hand as you're watching this, and go to Instagram and follow @LiarComedy. That's where all my stuff is. So me and my partner Keith, we do a lot of stupid stuff online. You can find it all there.
And you can log in and watch a Liar comedy show with your pizza. You can make pizza and then stay at home and watch a show and have pizza and a show. Oh my God. I think we just pitched an amazing date night to people.
I think it's a great idea. What you do is you cover your computer in a tarp, like a reverse Gallagher. And every time we tell a bad joke, you can throw a tomato at it. And then when you're done, crush tomatoes for the sauce.
Perfect. All right. I think we can market this. We'll start doing like package deals. That'd be good. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming to A Funny Taste. I hope everyone at home at least learned something or laughed once. I don't know. Please stay tuned and check out next episode. I believe we have C.T. Adams on. All right.
On the next episode of A Funny Taste.
C.T. Adams, aka CTA Comedy, aka The Wine Jerk.
These are all correct. Yes, ma'am. No, I am
You
not
are
a
a-
sommelier. and
Oh,
that's
okay.
That's because I actually care about wine.
Nice.
I just
Okay.
go on. Those are the people that really just care about the titles.
but
I don't know how to cook. I'm just off the set today and thought it would be a good idea to call in to you.
It's not a requirement necessarily for the show. For you to cook, you're always welcome to just criticize my cooking if you want to do that instead.
Okay, what are you good at cooking?
That's a really good question. I want to do something kind of bougie if you're gonna like give me a wine pairing for it. I feel I make this basil pesto, like a roasted spaghetti squash with pesto.
I don't have to eat it. I'm gonna say I like it. Let's do this.
I'm excited.
This show is going to be amazing, or at least this episode is going to be amazing.
Hey.